welcome to the first episode of Alive, the podcast that brings you all the live music goss you need to know about. First, we're going to kick things off with music venues themselves. Over the course of the pandemic, we've lost cultural gems across the country at a scale we've never even seen before. This week, we've learned that Nambucca in London will close for good, and that the Lead Mill in Sheffield is under threat of foreclosure, and the Drum Shed in London is now permanently closed. I sat down with Jed Mountain, an events promoter and ticketing agent who's worked with some of the UK's biggest artists such as David Albarn and Fatboy Slim, just to see what he had to say. Here with me we have Jed. Hi Jed, how you doing?
I'm alright, mate. How are you?
I'm living the dream, mate, living the dreams. Let's dive right in. How do you think music venues in the whole are recovering from the pandemic?
Pretty well on the whole, to be fair. I think the main issue facing venues, I think audiences are still not quite used to getting to commit to go to shows because so many things get postponed, cancelled, and well, the virus is still about, so I think some people are a bit uneasy about going back yet.
Oh, so do you think smaller venues are finding it more difficult to recover rather than the bigger venues who obviously have more behind them, etc.?
No and yes. I think it's the audience perspective that needs to change. I think there's contributing factors for the bigger venues and the smaller venues in how well they're doing and why they'll be doing better, worse. But I think music is coming back in general, live music, but
yeah,
it'll still take a little bit more time, I think.
Yeah. Do you think, from what you've seen in your work, do you think there are more or less artists that are lesser known, like booking and playing shows, or is it more of the big boys who have had to sit in and who are used to touring constantly? Are they getting like the primary spots or the preference spots in most venues, or is there a big underground scene coming about now?
I think from what I can see when we get shows confirming through, I think there are a lot of smaller bands, in quotation marks, getting shows, but I think the main issue is people expect to know exactly what's happening in music and I don't think people are used to taking a chance on a live show. Yeah. I think people would rather go to something that they know. So your AMGs, your academy venues, Live Nation are always going to concentrate on your bigger acts because that's where they make their money. But I do think there's a lot of smaller bands playing, like particularly in Leeds. Like the scene in Leeds is stupidly good.
Could you say that's from the customer perspective again? If people are less willing to take risks on bands or artists that they've not seen before and they're only willing to give up the time for things that they know, is that a reflection of the culture that we're now living in? Because I remember getting told stories of gigs and shows that happened in the 60s and 70s and 80s where people would just rock up to a gig and find a random band, and 10 years later they say, oh, I saw Nirvana for the first time in this bar, etc., when nobody knew them. Do you think there's going to be less of those stories in the future, or do you think there's going to be like a clear categoried audience that go to the same shows all the time?
I think there's two things that I think really affect why audiences won't take a chance.
Right.
I think one of them is technology. I think streaming, the fact that you can, if I say let's go see Peaks,
yeah,
and people don't know who Peaks are, they're gonna go on the phone, listen to a random song for 30 seconds and make a snap choice.
Yes.
People have that accessibility to listen to what they want, which is great. It's really good for people to listen to music when they want, and it's obviously a really good, cheaper alternative. People want exactly what they want. They know what they like. They will tend to not branch out. But then the big thing, and I do think it's the massive thing, particularly now, is the cost of living. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
You look at customers now. Rolling Stones are charging 100 and odd quid to go see Rolling Stones. Rolling Stones do not need that money. They do not need that money for 100,000 tickets either. Like, they've made their money. But it's the same with Chili Peppers. Chili Peppers is nearly 100 quid.
But they're still releasing music though, and they're at the top of the game. So do you not think there's a value in the market for that, and they have the right to charge that much, even though it might not be morally or ethically viable?
No, because the band sometimes will have a say in this, but I think when you've got such high costs from the bigger venues, your AMG venues, anything that Live Nation has a cut in, they want a cut of everything that comes through, so they'll want merch fees, which is, I know has been a big thing at the minute in the news. I think Warpaint or Haim, one of these two, had basically not put their merch stall in the venue because they were like, you want 20% of our merch takings, which is mental. And then
is that not something that's commonplace though?
No, it's commonplace within AMG venues.
Oh, okay,
but not anywhere else.
Nice. Okay.
But I just think it's mad. Like, if you can, not everyone earns loads of money. Not everyone's in the ability to just go to a show. Like, know someone who might be able to get them into the show.
Yeah.
If you're getting told that you're going to have to pay 150 quid to go see, let's be honest, Rolling Stones, I'd love to see Rolling Stones because that's what I was brought up with my granddad, but I would not for the life of me pay £150 because I can't afford £150 to go see that. And if you want to go to the smaller acts, you can go see 10, maybe 20 acts for that amount.
You can even do a full weekend at a festival for that amount of money.
Which is mad.
Which is like a completely all-encompassing experience rather than just going to a gig for 3 or 4 hours. Is there anything you want to close with? Or is there anything that you want to say that we could talk about more? Because this is a whole new subject for many people. So, yeah, what have you got?
Buy vinyl. Buy vinyl. Buy physical products. I use streaming, and trust me, I don't earn a lot of money. I don't. But I use streaming and I buy vinyl. I always buy vinyl because that contributes to the artist.
Yes.
That does actually contribute.
Directly.
Yeah, some of it goes to the label, we know, but so does some of the streaming money. So weigh that one up and they don't get paid like a penny for each of the streams. So if the label takes some of the penny, bit different, isn't it?
It is.
And also just take a chance. Sometimes there's a show for half the day, like we're in Leeds, so at a Porto there's always a show like every week at least for a £5.
Yeah.
I imagine. Just take a chance sometimes, and if your mate says, do you want to come to this gig? I don't care if you're the big metalhead, you like hip hop, you're a big punk, just take this chance, go to something new. As my mum used to say, exactly, as my mum used to say, you don't know until you try.
Exactly. I felt that way about Turkish delights, but I don't like them. Anyway, thank you, Jed. Yes.
No worries, mate.
Thank you, Jed. It was a pleasure, and hopefully we continue this conversation because I think there's a lot to go off here. So yeah, until next time.
See you later.
Jed Mountain. Wow, that was fun. Moving on now, and next we're going to be looking at a very special event. I was lucky enough to make it to Back to Youth UK Festival in Bradford, where there was something a bit more than a weekend of music. Rick, who's the guitarist of the band Friday Night Lights, has decided to bring the festival over because of his family and friends, some of whom are from Latvia like himself, but have since spread around various parts of Eastern Europe. This weekend was basically in order to fundraise and support the people who are currently experiencing arguably the worst conditions life could offer. Let's see what he had to say.
I'm organising a Back to You festival at Bradford Night Train in Bradford.
Nice. Are you performing today at all?
Yeah, we are. We're headlining tonight. We'll be on, I think, 10:40.
Okay, cool.
The right one.
Sound. So, is it been any trouble organising it, or has it been quite seamless? Like, how have you found it?
It's been hard, but it's felt like a duty because I'm doing it because the story behind it is my band, we've toured in Ukraine. We actually played in a place called Kalosh. Yes. We were the first English band ever to play there at a festival that we called Back to Youth. And we were the first, we got like a TV interview and everything, and it went down in sort of like local folklore. It was like a proper crazy gig. And then we went back a few years later and played again, and it's like, I think that was about 2014 the first time, and it's just grown and grown, and every year I think it's like two days now, but it's actually not happening this year. I think it was supposed to happen in April. Right. So it's like we're sort of flying flag for them, and it's like we've got loads of mates out there, and it's like we just want to do something for them, and that's why we've ended up doing this, you know, and it's just sort of snowballed, you know, we've just gone with it.
That's great. So is it a festival that was usually held there, but now you're doing it here, or is it something that was held here?
No, it will literally started. His friend in Kalosh called Max, who owns a bar called Maxwell's. He put us on and called the night back to you, because he said that his music reminded him of him being sort of like younger, sort of like, you know, post-hardcore sound.
Yeah.
And that's how it came about. And it's just like we just felt we would have liked to have played there. We've got like a song called Back to Youth and everything. We've got like a couple of songs to do with Ukraine and stuff.
Nice.
And it's just, we just wanted to do it because we were thinking, well, it's sort of like a nod to them by doing this, you know. I just sort of think that it's to show solidarity and stuff, you know. We've got there's like the actual backprint were done by one of his friends in Ukraine as well, and
nice.
We've had like we've got it translated into Ukraine, you know, miles apart, so that to art they've come up with. We got that translated with one of his friends, come up with like a few different ideas.
That's amazing.
And then we went with that, and then like I said, another one of his friends is actually set up like making sleeping bags for soldiers, and they're like they've just done it, and they're like, so all our merch, what we've got, all the money's going to that, and then all the rest of the money from ticket sales and everything is going to aid Ukraine.
That's great.
So that's really where we are. That's like I say, it's a personal thing for us, so that's why it's like, I think why we've been able to do it and put so much into it, because there's people who are appreciating what we're doing. We've got like in between all bands who are playing, all Ukrainian bands that we played with, we'll be playing all their music, because we've like got a lot of friends who are in bands and stuff in Ukraine.
That's great. So are you still in contact with people there at the moment?
Yeah,
really?
I've been in touch with them all the way through this. It's like I say, we put this together and then like we've got people involved as much as we can, you know. But most of my friends live in Western Ukraine, in Lviv, but it's like now that's starting to be a bit like dodgy, you know. There were a bombing like 2 days ago.
They're making ground that way, aren't they?
Well, it was 6 miles away from there, they actually bombed, so it's like, hopefully it won't get bad, but it's like I've already said to my friends, because I've got young kids now, if they need somewhere to stage, you know, they can come over and we'll put them up somehow. I don't know.
With the bands that agreed to play, was it easy to get the bands on? Were they straight on when they said, right, it's for a cause, or was it tentative?
We just put things straight out, and it's like we put things out on like Leeds Music Scene, Bradford Music Collective and stuff like that, and we were inundated. All we wanted to do was put on something, like we were thinking just get a gig somewhere and put a gig on 4 bands, and it was just like it started snowballing, the amount of bands and people who were wanting to do it. And we ended up saying, get a second venue, and like maybe on the Saturday, and then Keith said you can either have the Friday or the Sunday.
Yeah.
And then he ended up saying, if you need them both, you can have them both. So it's like we did it here. He's such a good guy, he's looked after, he's aced, you know, like our people have just been, and they've just left us to do what we wanted to do. You know, we had a vision and we've just been able to just do whatever we want.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like I say, people have just been, we'll do it. We're like, we were having to, I was glad when I could actually have 3 days, because it meant that I could literally get on everybody. I've still got standbys who aren't going to get to play, but it's like, it's just been mad how it's gone, but I've just let it take its course and grow into whatever it.
I saw Rick's post about it, and I mean, we've been going for about 9 months now, and the only times we've escaped Leeds was a couple of dates in Hull and Sheffield, and it, like, for the cause of it and the fact that it kind of accelerated from 1 day to 3, we were like 100%, yeah, we'd love to be a part of it. It's an opportunity for us to go and play to a new crowd. It's an opportunity to bring some heads in, and all the money go to a brilliant cause.
I think it's worth noting as well that over the course of the weekend, Back to Youth UK raised over £4,000 in aid of Ukrainian charities, all from 22 bands playing and really big and generous support from the local scene, and everybody came to support awesome live music. That's it for today's show. We've had a mixed bag, but we've also seen how important these venues are and how much they can make a difference when people actually come together and use them. Thanks for listening. I'm Robert Tate. This is Alive.